Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and gives this video a thumbs up. Grant Ellis and Juliana Pasquarosa of The Bachelor Season 29 got engaged during the final, and they have already gone on their first real-life dinner date since the program. Grant proposed to Juliana on the Bachelor Season 29 final after being torn between her and runner-up Ellis Juliana. His indecisiveness appeared to indicate that the filmmakers made a mistake when casting Grant in the lead role, but he eventually found his happily ever after. According to Monsters and Critics, Grant shared an Instagram story revealing that he and Juliana had gone on their first post-Bachelor dinner date at Del Sol restaurant in Los Angeles, California. He shared a snapshot of himself with his arms around Juliana as they posed for a picture at their table. Grant and Juliana both smiled broadly in the photograph. After The Bachelor Season 29, Grant and Juliana will need to experience their relationship in the real world after living in a fantasy world on the show and having to hide it for months while the episodes were airing. Their first dinner date may have been a private event, but Grant chose to post about it, keeping their relationship public. However, it must be crucial to him to show viewers that he and Juliana are happy, especially because he pretended to be divided between her and Lisha until the very last moment before proposing. Because of The Bachelor's extraordinarily rapid timeline, Grant and Juliana are still getting to know each other, despite the fact that they are engaged. Some Bachelor Nation couples have described their experience as dating in reverse, with an engagement followed by a slowing of things while they negotiate their relationship outside of the show's cocoon. It's wonderful to see Grant and Juliana still happy and in love after the conclusion, and that they can finally come out of hiding to bring their romance into the real world. The Bachelor has a poor reputation, but Grant and Juliana are the third successful pair to emerge from the program in a succession, following Zach Shawcross and Katie Bigger and Joey Graziadei and Kelsey Anderson. Sean Lowe and Catherine Giudice, the fourth couple from The Bachelor, who are still together, have been blissfully married for almost 10 years. Hopefully, Grant and Juliana's love will endure, and this is the beginning of many dinner dates for them. Under the Tuscan sun, surrounded by the vibrant scent of blooming roses and the quiet hush of anticipation, Grant Ellis stood on a cobblestone path that led to the most important decision of his life. He had been the face of Season 29 of The Bachelor, charming, composed, and emotionally transparent. But in that moment, as he waited for Juliana Pasquarosa to approach, his heart beat like a man on the edge of uncertainty. He had spent weeks grappling with his feelings, torn between two incredible women. Juliana, the vibrant New Yorker with a heart full of compassion and spontaneity, and Ellis Juliana, whose quiet confidence and deep soul made her equally unforgettable. Viewers saw his struggle play out on screen, and many questioned if Grant had the emotional maturity to lead the show. But when Juliana walked toward him in a flowing pastel dress, sunlight in her curls and eyes wide with hope, Grant knew what his heart had been trying to tell him all along. "I've been confused," Grant admitted, voice cracking. "I didn't always know what my heart wanted. But I know now. It's you, Juliana. It's always been you." He got down on one knee and pulled out the Neil Lane engagement ring. Juliana gasped, her hands flying to her face. "Juliana Pasquarosa, will you marry me?" Tears streamed down her cheeks as she nodded. "Yes, yes, Grant, I will." The camera panned out, capturing their embrace, the season's final perfect moment. But real life was waiting. After the proposal, life moved fast, but also strangely slow. They were engaged, yes, but still cloaked in secrecy due to the strict Bachelor Nation rules. For months, Grant and Juliana had to hide their relationship while the show aired, sneaking away for happy couple weekends at remote safe houses. They cooked together, binge-watched reality TV, and had deep talks about the future. But even in those private moments, there was a lingering sense of surrealism. It felt like we were playing house, Juliana would later admit in an interview. We were in love, but we were also isolated from the world. Their phones remained silent about their relationship, their social media scrubbed of any trace of one another. It was romantic in a way, living in their secret world. But the pressure of waiting took its toll. When the final aired, and we could finally step out into the sunlight together, it was like breathing for the first time. Grant shared after the final aired, Grant and Juliana stepped out for their first real-life date in Los Angeles at Cadel Sol, an elegant tucked-away Italian restaurant in Toluca Lake. Grant posted a photo to his Instagram story, the two of them sitting close, his arm draped protectively around her, both of them beaming. It wasn't a flashy red carpet or a talk show interview. It was a dinner. Simple, intentional, real. That night was magic, Juliana told Monsters and Critics later. We talked about everything, family, where we wanted to live, the pressure of the show, even our favorite pizza toppings. They ordered wine, shared a tiramisu, and stayed until the restaurant began to close. To them, it wasn't just a date. It was the first step in discovering who they were as a couple outside the spotlight. Bachelor Nation fans are passionate, but also critical. Online forums exploded with speculation. Some thought Grant had made a mistake, that he still had unresolved feelings for Licia. Others doubted Juliana's intentions, calling her too ambitious or too polished. One Reddit user wrote, "You could see he wasn't sure even as he proposed. I don't see them lasting 6 months." That hurt, but Juliana took it in stride. They don't know our hearts. They saw a version of us edited for television. This is our story now. Grant, however, took it harder. "I hated being called the worst bachelor in history," he confessed during a podcast. "I tried to be honest. That's what made it messy. But I picked Juliana. I know I picked right." Engagement on The Bachelor often feels like the finish line, but in truth, it's the starting block. For Grant and Juliana, the next few months were a whirlwind of getting to know one another in new ways. They discovered that Juliana loved early morning runs and hated mushrooms. Grant played guitar, but never in public. She was spontaneous. He was a planner. She could sit in silence and feel content. He needed words, affirmations. They clashed sometimes over what city to move to, how to handle finances, whether to get a dog or wait. But each disagreement brought a new layer of understanding. "Fighting doesn't mean failing," Juliana said in a YouTube Q&A. "It means you care enough to work through things." Meanwhile, runner-up Licia Gare had remained mostly silent in the media. Her heartbreaking final moments played out with grace, and she walked away without bitterness. Still, the shadow of her presence lingered. During an appearance on After the Final Rose, she said, "I think Grant made the choice he was meant to make. It wasn't me, and that's okay. I loved him, and I needed to honor that by walking away with dignity." That moment, he said later, was when I realized what love looks like even when it's unreturned. Licia will always hold a special place in my story, but Juliana is my future. After their engagement went public, the couple leaned into visibility. They did interviews, TikToks, live Q&As, and charity events together. They were guests at Katie and Zach's wedding, where they danced barefoot on the grass under fairy lights. Grant began filming short videos about relationship growth. Juliana launched a lifestyle blog focused on post-reality dating and healing. They were quickly becoming one of Bachelor Nation's golden couples, organic, imperfect, but committed. They even started a podcast, Reverse Dating, named after the way their relationship unfolded. Engagement first, everyday life later. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, do not forget to subscribe to my channel and do not miss any updates.